Hey, what's up guys? Today I want to show you guys how to paint your taillights. And I'm going to show you the technique that I've been using for years that everybody that I've done it for really loves it and always comes back to me to do their taillights. Now I know you can buy a taillight tinting spray and probably a tint that you can put on there, like a wrap tint you can put on there, but this technique is different. This technique is where I actually tint clear coat and clear coat the lights with that light tint on there, and you can adjust it to whether you want it darker or lighter depending on how much black paint you put into the clear coat and how many applications you apply to your tail light. So today that's what we're gonna do. Let's get started. Okay, so let's go over some of the materials that we'll be using. We'll be using a adhesion promoter, some masking tape, a 3M spray gun, some black base coat, alcohol to clean with, a mixing cup, 1000 grit sandpaper, tack rag to clean with, a red Scotch-Brite, and the spray panel to check and make sure that my tint looks proper, and the mixing stick. Of course, the clear coat that we'll be using to tint is not on this table, but we're going to use any clear coat. If you got a clear coat that you can use, just apply this technique to the clear coat that you guys have. All right, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is grab my sandpaper and my masking tape and start getting the tail lights ready. Okay guys, first and foremost, I always tape up around the areas that I'm not gonna sand to make sure I don't get no sand scratches on anything. So I'm gonna tape up around the edges of the tail light to make sure I don't sand anything and scratch anything with the sandpaper. It's always good to do that. That way you don't cause yourself any more headache than you need, right? All right guys, I got a spray bottle to wet everything down because we're gonna be wet sanding this and my 1000. Let's get started. Let's wet this down a little bit with the sandpaper and let's sand it. Once you're done sanding with the 1000, hit it with the red Scotch-Brite. Red Scotch-Brite. Okay guys, so here it is. We're getting ready to mix the mix that we're gonna make, the clear coat mix that we're gonna make. My clear coat is mixed 2-to-1. So whatever clear coat you guys have, mix it to the measurements that it is. So mine is 2-to-1, that means 2 parts clear coat, 1 part hardener. And I also add between 5 and 10% reducer just to make it flow out smoothly and it atomizes nicely. So that's gonna be my mix. So before I go tinting the clear coat, I'm just gonna mix it the regular way. So like I said, that's 2 parts clear coat, 1 part hardener. That's my mix. So I'm not gonna mix a lot. I'm probably gonna go up to, let's say, the number 2. The first number 2 right here. I'm gonna go right here. I'm gonna stop at this first number on this line where the number 2 is. And then if you guys don't know how to use a mixing cup, you put your first part, which is the clear coat, on the number you want it on, whatever mix you're gonna make. So I'm gonna go on my number 2 right here, and then I'm gonna add my hardener. Is gonna go to the next line over on the next number 2. Right there. All right, that's good. I stopped on my number 2 right there. That should give me enough for both tail lights. Now all I gotta do is add the hardener, which is gonna be my next line where the number 2 is. So all it is basically matching each number that moves over. So 2-to-1, the first line is the main component, the second line is the hardener. And you just gotta match it up to the number you stopped at. And that's it, right there. Stopped on the next line over on the number 2. Basically just a drop of reducer. I'm gonna go to the next line over on the number 2. It's only gonna be like 10%. It says 10% on there, and that's it. Very little bit. That's basically how I will mix my clear coat for any other job that I'm gonna clear coat with, right? So this is my black base coat. So what you want to understand about this mix is you want to put 100% base coat, solvent base coat, unreduced. Unreduced means hasn't been cut with any reducer, it means it's 100% pure uncut base coat. Because if you use a base coat that's reduced, it's gonna over reduce the clear and it's gonna make a mess and you're not gonna get the quality you want. So that's the idea to this mix. So let's open up our can first. Let me shake it. Shake it up real good. You want it to mix properly, even though it's just black, you still want it to mix properly. It separates sometimes. All right, pop it open. See that? Pure 100% black base coat. Stir it up a little bit. Now I'm gonna put a little bit on just with my stick, just because I don't want to pour it in, because I only need a little bit to tint it. And I'm gonna stir it up to see what that looks like. See how it looks inside of there? Look, it's a very little bit. Now I'm gonna stir it up, and you see how it changes colors? It looks really black right now. I mean, it looks extremely black. That basically looks like black paint right there. But it's not, because it's very thinned out. You saw I only put a drop in there, right? So I'm gonna make my spray out panel just to make 100% sure it is not overly black. This base coat might be very, very, very strong. So you gotta consider that as well. All right, let's make our spray out panel. This is simple. Get a paint stick, put it on the back of your spray out panel and tape it up. That's simple, guys. And this is just to make sure that this stays transparent, because you see how it looks black and I just put a couple of drops in it. I want to make sure that it stays transparent, and I'm going to keep an eye on the white part of the panel to spray it. I'll stir it up one more time to make sure it's properly stirred, and pour it in here. See that? Look at that. It barely tinted anything. That goes to show you, it looks black, but it barely did any tinting. That's why I said we have to do a test panel. Yeah, it needs more black. That's exactly why I mean test panels have to be done. And you see that looks black. That paint in there looks black, and it's barely doing anything. So that's the reason for these tests. I'm gonna add some more. You have to do this in stages. You have to spray out a little bit, test it, spray it out, test it. And that's the beauty of this process, is that you can basically add a little bit at a time and get what you want. There we go. Now look at that. You see that? That's tinted there. So I just added a little bit at a time. That's kind of what I was going for, and that looks pretty good. Now we should be good to do our tail lights. I don't want my tail lights to get dark. I just want a really light tint, nice tint on there. And remember, the more applications you add to this, the more it's gonna darken. So you can add as much as you want and achieve the kind of color you want. See that? It's just a little bit darker. So this is what I like about this method. All right, now that my clear coat is ready with the tint that I like, now we gotta clean up the tail lights and get it ready. Now, all I'm using is some alcohol to clean the tail lights, make sure there's no contaminants on there. This is a tack rag. I recommend this for everything you're gonna paint. It clears up all the little bit of lint that could possibly be on your panels. Just make sure you always do this right before you're about to paint. Let's apply our adhesive promoter on here now that we got it cleaned up. Shake it up. Dries fast. That's a good thing. There we go. I got like a 12-inch distance when I'm spraying. All right. I might just be putting on one coat depending on how dark it gets, all right? Now, I'm gonna spray this exactly like I would clear coat any panel on any car. Oh, that looks pretty. Look at that. It's very lightly tinted. I'm gonna give it a minute, apply one more coat just to give it a little bit more of a tint. You see how it's a little bit dark right here where the clear part of the light is at? I'm gonna apply one more coat. I'm gonna give it a minute to flash, and then I'm gonna apply one more coat. See the difference? Look at this one, and look at this one. All right, let's do this tail light real quick. There you go. That looks good. All right. Oh yeah, that's looking good. It's getting nice and smooth. You gotta give it a second. You don't want to pound it on because then it'll run. But it already feels a little tacky. It's pretty warm outside today, so it's probably gonna get tacky pretty quickly. You can go and reapply your coat once it starts to get a little tacky. I'm gonna put one more coat. And that should give me the finish I want on these tail lights. But you can see the black overspray on the plastic. See that? You can see it on the plastic. It's got some black overspray on the plastic. Oh, it's getting darker. Oh yeah. There you go. See that? That's what I wanted. That's perfect right there. And what's great about this is also, if you feel like that's just a little bit too dark, remember, this is the clear coat. If you want to sand that down later on to lighten it just a little bit, you can take some 2000 grit paper, sand it down, polish it. It'll still have a little bit of tint on there, and it'll just lighten it up a little bit. See that? That looks good. I don't need it any darker than that. Look at that, guys. I'm going to show you a before I clear coated it and an after, so you guys can check it out and see what it looks like. So you're going to be able to you're going to be able to work with this, guys. And this is what I like about this method right here, because you're going to be able to work with this. This is clear coat. You can sand this down to lighten it. You can coat it as many times as you want to darken it. And you have the most control of how you do this. You can add your base coat to your clear coat however you want, and you can also control it by the amount of coats you apply to your tail lights. So I hope you guys like this video, and I hope you guys try it out, and let me know if you try it out. Hit me up in the comment section. Let me know if you try it. Send me some pictures to my email, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys use this to your advantage. Get creative if you want. I know most people like the black tint, but you could tint it basically with whatever base coat you want, as long as it's uncut pure base coat. Remember, always keep that in mind. Keep the base coat 100% uncut. So if you like this video, guys, please hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, hit the notification bell so you can be notified every time I post a new video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Bye.